Hi everyone, hope you're having a good day. With Prodrive celebrating its 40th birthday this year, I thought it would be good to look back on one of their previous motor racing hunting grounds, the British Touring Car Championship. So welcome one and all to the story of how a rally team conquered the BTCC twice. Our story begins in 1986 with a car dealer named Frank Sittner. Sittner had been competing in what was previously known as the British Saloon Car Championship since 1982, first in a TWR prepared Rover, and from 1983 in a 6 Series BMW. Having taken a year out from the BTCC in 1986, he went to see Prodrive boss David Richards at the team's headquarters in Banbury, asking whether the team could build and prepare one of the new BMW M3s to compete with in the 1987 BTCC. One of the logistical advantages that Prodrive had was that they were already building the rally versions of the cars and had the parts to put them together, so Richards greenlit the project for 1987. 1987 itself was a fairly successful first touring car season for the team, with Sittner scoring 3 class wins from the 5 races that he competed in, including an outright win at Donington Park, but retired from the races at Brands Hatch and Alton Park. He was joined in the car for the endurance race by the late Mike Smith, who would become Sittner's full-time teammate for the following year. Speaking of 1988, what's the best way to describe it? Well, you know how McLaren won nearly every F1 race the same year with the all-conquering MP44? Well, Prodrive achieved a similar feat in Class B in the BTCC, possibly even better. Sittner won the class 11 times out of 12 races, with only his third place at Thruxton preventing a complete monopoly of the class. Even better for Prodrive and Sittner was the fact that Sittner ended up as the outright BTCC champion, due to the fact that the overall championship places were determined by the points scored by each driver in each of their classes. For 1989, Frank Sittner had a new teammate in James Weaver, and although the team continued to dominate Class B, taking first and second in the class standings, they would miss out on the overall title by a single point to the popular Scotsman John Cleland in his Class C Vauxhall Astra. It was Weaver this time who won the class title ahead of Sittner, with 11 class wins to Sittner's 2. 1990 was sort of a transition year for the BTCC, with just classes A and B competing and more manufacturers entering Class B than ever before. It would be the main class of the BTCC for 1991, but more on that later. John Cleland and Vauxhall had joined Sittner and BMW in Class B and would provide strong competition to Prodrive's Works BMW operation with the new Cavalier. Despite this, Prodrive took a third successive Class B title and second in the overall standings for Sittner, who was supported by 2 BMW junior drivers throughout the year, Tim Sugden and Kurt Luby. Vauxhall's 4 Class B wins, though, were a warning shot for 1991. 1991 itself was the start of what was for many people the most popular era for the BTCC, the Super Touring era, with the Class B cars being the only ones allowed to compete for the outright overall championship. BMW and Vauxhall were joined on the grid for the first 2-litre Formula season by the works entries from Ford, Toyota, Nissan and Mitsubishi. Although a BMW would end up winning the driver's title, it wasn't the Works Prodrive team that achieved this, but the late great Will Hoy in the semi-works Vic Lee Motorsport prepared BMW M3, although the two teams did combine to help BMW to win the manufacturer's title. Sittner was replaced at Prodrive for the season by ex-F1 driver Jonathan Palmer, who took 7th in the Drivers' Championship, with the second car being shared by Steve Soper, who took 3 wins and 4th in the Drivers' Championship, with Tim Sugden winning in one of the 5 races he competed in when Soper had clashing DTM commitments. For 1992, Vic Lee's team joined Prodrive in being a full works team, and unfortunately this season would turn out to be a disappointing one for the Prodrive run operation. Notably, future WRC star Colin McRae appeared at the Knock Hill round and immediately made an impact, with points in race 1 and a disqualification in race 2 after taking out Matt Neal's privateer car. The team only took 2 podiums during the season, and Sugden, Menu and Nissan 8th, 9th and 11th respectively in the final drivers' standings. Sadly, in 1993 and 1994, the team failed to compete in the BTCC, after a prospective Mercedes Worksback effort with the C-Class failed to come to fruition, with Sugden and Mercedes racing legend Bernd Schneider being the prospective drivers for the project. Prodrive, however, would return in 1995, having taken over the running of the Works Alfa Romeo operation. However, the season was nothing short of a disaster. The Alfa Romeo 155 TS had been the dominant car in 1994 with its controversial aerodynamic aids. But in 1995 the rules were changed to allow teams to run aerodynamic packages that weren't found on the road-going versions of their cars. The Alfa was consistently one of the slowest cars on the grid, if not the slowest, with no podium finishes and a best race result of 4th place with reigning champion Gabriele Tarquini. Alfa withdrew from the series and Prodrive wouldn't appear on the 1996 grid as a result. 1997, and Prodrive returned to the BTCC, taking over the running of the Works Honda operation from MSD. The Accord had won races in 1996 and would do so again in 1997, with James Thompson and Gabriele Tarquini grabbing a win apiece during the season. However, the Hondas were off the pace of the dominant Williams-Renault Lagunas of Alain Menu and Jason Plato, with Thompson 5th in drivers' standings and Tarquini in 6th, with Honda 3rd in the Manufacturers' Championship. Thompson stayed on at Prodrive Honda for 1998, but would this time be joined by BMW sports car refugee Peter Cox. The Accord was more competitive this season. Although only 4th in the Manufacturers' Championship, Thompson managed to take 4 race wins and several other podiums throughout the season, finishing a strong 3rd in the drivers' standings. Cox showed some promise in 1998, most notably with some strong qualifying performances, but would finish down in 12th in the drivers' standings. 1999 rolled around and it was all change at Prodrive. A new car, the Ford Mondeo, and 2 new drivers, the returning Alain Menu and 1998 championship runner-up Anthony Reid. You could certainly call this a transitional year, as the team and drivers got to grips with the new car. Sadly, although there were flashes of promise, including a win for Menu at the Knock Hill round, the car overall would struggle for both pace and reliability, with the team finishing last in the manufacturer's standings, with Menu only 11th in the drivers' table and Reid in 12th. However, things would be much different in 2000. 2000 was the final year in the BTCC Super Touring era, with only half the Works teams from the previous year, with Nissan, Volvo and Renault all pulling out at the end of the 1999 season. Having been one of the slowest cars the previous year, the Mondeo was the class of the field in 2000, with the team scoring a podium finish in every race, including 11 race victories, a 1-2-3 in the Drivers' Series, with Menu beating Reid to the title by 2 points, and 1998 champion Rickard Rydell 3rd, but also Ford winning the Manufacturers' title by over 100 points from Honda and Vauxhall. The series would see a raft of rule changes for the following season, but neither Prodrive nor Ford returned in any official capacity and still haven't to this very day. Although Prodrive has gone on to have many successes in both rallying and endurance racing, their time in the BTCC can't be understated, especially as they were a part of the series during one of its most popular and competitive eras. What are your favourite memories of Prodrive in the BTCC? Comment below, and thanks for watching this video. Take care.